A war on two fronts, the October War begins. The October War, also known as the Yom Kippur War, erupted on October 6, 1973. It pitted Israel against a coalition of Arab states led by Egypt and Syria. The conflict, lasting until October 26, had profound implications for the Middle East and the world. It remains a pivotal event in the region's history, shaping the geopolitical landscape for decades to come. Egypt and Syria sought to reclaim territories lost to Israel during the Six-Day War of 1967. Egypt aimed to recapture the Sinai Peninsula and reopen the Suez Canal, a vital waterway for global trade that had been closed since the 1967 war. Syria, meanwhile, sought to regain the strategically important Golan Heights. The war began with a surprise attack on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in Judaism, when Israel was largely unprepared. Egyptian forces successfully crossed the Suez Canal, breaching Israel's heavily fortified Bar-Lev line. Simultaneously, Syrian troops launched an offensive in the Golan Heights, initially gaining ground against Israeli defenses. The initial success of the Egyptian assault stunned Israel and its allies. The Arab coalition's early victories sent shockwaves through Israel and the international community. The element of surprise, coupled with the initial effectiveness of Egyptian and Syrian military tactics, challenged Israel's image of invincibility. The war's outbreak also marked a turning point in the Arab-Israeli conflict, demonstrating the Arab world's determination to challenge Israel militarily and diplomatically. Shifting sands from Arab success to Israeli counteroffensive. Israel, caught off guard by the coordinated Arab attack, quickly mobilized its reserves. The Israel Defense Forces, despite early setbacks, mounted a fierce counteroffensive on both fronts. In the Sinai, Israeli forces, under the leadership of General Ariel Sharon, crossed the Suez Canal encircling Egyptian troops. On the Golan Heights front, Israeli forces, outnumbered but determined, repelled the Syrian advance. The IDF, utilizing its superior firepower and air power, pushed back Syrian forces, inflicting heavy losses. The tide of the war began to turn in Israel's favor. The October War witnessed the direct involvement of both superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. The US, a staunch ally of Israel, provided critical military aid and intelligence to bolster Israel's defenses. The Soviet Union, supporting Egypt and Syria, supplied arms and logistical support to the Arab coalition. The superpowers' involvement highlighted the Cold War dynamics at play in the Middle East. The region became a proxy battleground for US-Soviet rivalry, with each superpower seeking to advance its interests and contain the influence of the other. The October War underscored the global stakes of the Arab-Israeli conflict and its potential to escalate into a wider confrontation. Beyond the battlefield, the oil embargo and global impact. The October War had far-reaching consequences that extended beyond the battlefields of the Middle East. The Arab oil-producing nations, angered by Western support for Israel, imposed an oil embargo against the United States and other nations deemed supportive of Israel. This embargo, lasting from October 1973 to March 1974, had a profound impact on the global economy. The embargo quadrupled oil prices, sending shockwaves through the global energy market. Western nations, heavily reliant on Middle Eastern oil, faced severe fuel shortages and soaring energy costs. The embargo triggered a global recession, highlighting the West's vulnerability to disruptions in oil supply. The Arab oil embargo had a crippling effect on the US economy, leading to fuel shortages and economic recession. The oil embargo had lasting political and economic repercussions. It forced Western nations to reassess their energy policies, leading to greater emphasis on energy conservation, diversification of energy sources, and the development of alternative energy technologies. The embargo also underscored the geopolitical importance of the Middle East and the strategic significance of oil as a global commodity. Legacies of war, the October War, and the Middle East today. The October War concluded with a series of ceasefires brokered by the United Nations and diplomatic efforts by the superpowers. While the war resulted in no clear victor, it had profound long-term consequences for the Middle East. The war paved the way for the historic Camp David Accords in 1978, which led to the peace treaty between Egypt and Israel in 1979. The October War remains a significant event in the collective memory of the Arab world. It is often commemorated as a symbol of Arab resilience and a demonstration of the Arab world's ability to challenge Israel militarily. The war also highlighted the importance of Arab unity and cooperation in confronting external threats. The October War, despite its devastating cost, paved the way for a historic peace agreement between Israel and Egypt. The legacy of the October War continues to resonate in the Middle East today. The war's 51st anniversary in 2024 coincided with heightened tensions in the region following the 2023 Israel-Gaza conflict. The anniversary served as a reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of dialogue and diplomacy in resolving long-standing conflicts. The October War, despite its devastating cost, ultimately contributed to a shift towards peacemaking in the Middle East, demonstrating that even the most intractable conflicts can have diplomatic solutions.